Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures. Tonight, episode 333, and a little bit of a story here. And I will be up front, feeling a little under the weather, a little nasally, got a head cold going on around here. So Ben is the lead tonight, which is good and dandy because we are talking about an idea that Ben has here. And it's not even an idea, it's actually a plan. So why don't you tell us about it, Ben? It's better than me trying to do it third person.
I guess the overall thing we're talking about is I'm planning a trip in the next couple of weeks, and at this time, like I'm looking to lighten the load. The trip itself isn't really the deal. Is we've talked about like ultralight camping, we've talked about different things, but kind of what was going to my mind is not so much getting each of these. How do you get rid of the excess of stuff that you tend to take? And we all take it. We all take all this. We might need this, or I might need that. So you just throw it in there. So when you think about it, oftentimes you're lugging a lot of stuff you probably don't need. So how do you lighten that load, or how do you reduce the extra stuff to optimize what you're taking for your trip? That's kind of summarize it up a bit.
Yeah, and as you folks kind of seen there in the description, if you were playing at home and reading along, this is going to kind of be a two-parter. So tonight we're talking about how to lighten the load. Kind of stems from our episode from last week where we were talking about how to pack.
Yeah.
And then next week we're going to be talking a little bit about what you need when you're going off-roading. And what was your plans for that? Are you talking more like any vehicle, your bike, or how are we going to shape that one up, Ben?
Well, that one actually, I was kind of thinking more towards like what are the minimum things you would look for in your vehicle. So how do you set that vehicle up? How do you, and there's definitely different vehicles. I mean, I know you're into ATVing, the motorcycling, the trucks, SUVs, all these things fit into that. Even I guess the other things like so how do you match it for the terrain and the trip? And that's really the thing. Like any vehicle can do it. Uh but not to any location, right? You if you need a place that you have to be able to go upriver, you're probably not taking a paddle boat or a car. But you know, you could take a boat so different things to think about for that. But we'll talk more about that on next week's episode. But for this week, how do you lighten the load? How do you minimize what you're taking to give yourself the most room? How do you make sure that you're not overloading yourself or adding additional strain to your trip, right? My next trip's most likely a moto trip, so weight doesn't matter that much, but the reality is more weight is the more you're lugging around on that bike, the harder it is to maneuver around more tight terrain, and it starts to wear on you through the day.
No, absolutely. So for every pound you can save, you're actually going to save yourself significant wear for the distance that you're traveling. And I guess along that lines, the first thing we can chat about, because we've chatted about this in the past, or I think it's a good place for us to start, you tell me what you think, is redundancy. So maybe having something that can do more than one job, or using something to do a job it may not originally be intended for. And a classic one of this that most people know about is like using your dry pillows, or sorry, your dry clothing as a pillow. You know what I mean? That way you don't have to take a pillow. I myself, I happen to take usually a camp pillow. I like a dedicated pillow. But if I was saved for space for some reason, there's nothing saying I can't take some of those. What I classically like to do is take something like this thing back here, wrap a few things up, and bam, you got yourself a pillow. Stuff I'd already be taking anyway that can function for something else I would take as an extra.
Yeah, I mean, I have an inflatable pillow. It takes up a lot less room and weight. It has a decent covering, so it doesn't feel like an inflatable pillow the same.
That's the problem I got
So,
with mine. Mine feels like plastic. You know what I mean? It's just not great.
so pillows have been a long debate. We could do a whole episode on pillows if we haven't already. Uh,
I
but
don't know.
but yeah, so these are sort of
Anyway,
things, and I think one thing is obviously if you have to have a choice between a couple of items, choose the lighter weight, less bulky item. So pants, you can take a pair of jeans, or you can take a pair of lightweight slacks, or I don't know what you call them. Like, a lot of the pants I've been getting lately are fairly thin. They dry super quick, and they don't give me a lot of warmth advantages though. So that's the downside to some of the stuff. But I can pack three of these in the same place as one good pair of jeans, right?
And the brown pants that people classically see me in photos around here, those are outdoors pants. They're 511 ripstops. Same kind of deal. They fold up so nice and tight. Likewise, I could probably get 3 pair of those to the same place as 1 pair of jeans. No big surprise here. I'm not a massive jean wearing person. Used to be. Don't get any problems with them. It's just somehow as I got older, I kind of leaned away from them and more into work pants and these kind of things. And then the rest of my jobs always provided me uniforms, and I just got away from jeans. I'm not a jean hater. I just don't use them a lot.
No, and I love jeans myself. It's just one of those things when I'm trying to save myself the space and weight. I have clothing that's more outdoors worthy, I guess, and packed super tight, which means I can take an extra pair of clothing and not have nearly as much weight as if I had, say, one set of heavy gear and then one spare set of heavy gear. I can take 3 sets and have that spare set and still have a lot less than I would if I went with the heavier set. So you could definitely save weight there. And that's a fairly important one. Also, gear that's easy dry weighs a lot less dry and weighs a lot less wet and dries quicker, which means like if you take something like a heavier sweater or jeans or something that does get wet, you can actually spend a lot of time and effort trying to dry it out to be able to use it. And so that's definitely a savings there. So I love quick dry materials and stuff, right?
100%. We got Steve and Eric joining us here in the comments tonight. Just a comment from Steve. I had my pack on last night. It felt far heavier after not running it all summer, and that is something that we're kind of running with here in the East Coast, where we had the Woods bands on for most of the summer, and now they're mostly lifted. Getting back out in the woods it's a strange feeling. I'm not gonna lie. After being away so long, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I kind of remember this. The pack's a little heavier. The body doesn't handle it quite as well. I hear you, Steve. But for you over there, Ben, you guys didn't really have any major shutdowns or anything like that, so I'm hoping business as usual. I guess the next big thing that we kind of talked about here, I'm just watching our time, we're at 7 minutes. Food. Yeah. Depending on what you take for food can significantly cut you down on weight. Because I know when, for instance, when Ben and I went to the waterfall, you know what, not waterfall, let's go with the other one. We took an entire turkey. Had to bring that up somehow. But in any case, the point is, you can be a little extravagant with food, and it's going to take up a lot of weight. For instance, on that, I assume you're not going to take that in a motorcycle. It took a pot and a deep fryer and an outside cooker and propane, and like we went crazy, absolutely crazy.
Took 5 gallons of oil.
Exactly, but I mean, take that into scope. So instead of perhaps taking fully cracked eggs in a jar, maybe you move on to dehydrated eggs, or instead of taking a bunch of meats and stuff like that, which I'm not against, maybe you move on to some more dehydrated style things that save you the weight and the space, and you can just hydrate that when you get there, providing that, you got some water or something that you're going to have ready access to. I guess that's the next question is, do you have to take water with you, or are you assuming you're going to be able to get some potable water somewhere at camp?
So my plan is to take my Sawyer system. I can almost always find some water. Even if I have to drive a ways to get it, I should be able to, pick up some water. So I will take probably at least 1 container to take water in, and then a couple of bags that I can store water in with the system. But yeah, I won't be taking a big thing. And also, I have to think on fuel in this case. Like maybe I should take some spare fuel. So if I do that, where am I going to put that? I don't really have on this rig a place to do that. Now I do have probably a 400 plus kilometer range between fillings. So, but off-road, heavyweight, messed with my gears a little bit. I maybe a little less than 400 now. I might be.
You never know. But once again, if you got to pack that spare fuel, that's something else that you got to think about. And remind me after the episode. I have an idea for you. I just don't want to talk about it on here until we talk about it together.
Okay. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's those type of things. So, 100% food. Now, we talked about it a few months back. And one of my go-tos is honestly these Lighten sidekicks and a can of some type of protein. So tuna, chicken, ham, any of these canned sandwich meats. Mix well into a quick meal, and it gives me decent protein, some maybe a few more carbs than I personally would like. But it's a super quick and easy meal that doesn't require much. I try to get the sidekicks that are just add water, so oftentimes more the rice ones, and nothing that says creamy, because creamy almost always requires some kind of milk.
Yeah, but you can
Uh,
get away from that too. You can just use water. I do it that. Let me back up. I don't stray from the ones that say creamy because I don't mind using just water. Yeah, they don't taste as rich, but I love pasta so much they generally don't bother me.
there's a few other tricks you can do. I wouldn't be against powdered milk to substitute that a little bit. We talked about how if you do that, if you can start rehydrating it like 24 hours before,
Mm,
even if in small amounts, like a small jar, or maybe like a actually really good for stuff like this, the baby food jars,
hmm
that size, right?
But the
Small
other
jam
flip
jar.
side of this pasta, I assume for you, is there's a ton of carbs and sugar mixed in pasta, so it's probably not the
Yeah,
top of your list.
not normally, but trying to figure out where can I save, you know, on a trip like this, I would consider not worrying about that. Plus, um, there'll probably be a couple of opportunities to eat out on a trip like this. So at least coming and going, we'll stop for a meal somewhere, I'm sure. Uh, Shelter, and I mean, you get it past that. So I'm thinking one pot, one stove, one fork, like a pretty basic system. I'm
So what
not.
you bringing for a stove, if I can ask, Ben? You gonna go alcohol? You going multi-fuel? You going butane, propane? Like, what's your plan here?
Somewhat tempted to take the multi-fuel, mainly because it uses I can use gasoline, which is this, I have anyways.
Hmm,
And if I have excessive, I can just throw it in the tank and get myself out of there until I get to the next gas station and fill everything back up. So
that's
that's
fair.
that's an option. So I do have a multi-fuel stove that I could take. It is bulkier. If I went with, say, um, the canister system, I can go down to my BRS. I think it's BRS 5000 or 3000. It is super lightweight. It takes up absolutely no room. It fits inside my smallest cup, and one or two canisters will probably last me the entire trip. Um,
So, quick comment here from Eric, because I just don't want to go through it too far and miss it. You can take the tuna or chicken out of the can and put it in a Ziploc bag to save on weight. Absolutely. They actually, and I've seen them more in the States. I don't know if they have them here. Ben may know. Have you seen tuna in a bag? Comes in a little
yes,
plastic sealable bag. Yeah. They actually make a product ready made like that, and it was great for when long haul trucking down in the States. You could just grab one of those, you ripped it open, put mayonnaise in the package, and you kind of stirred it around, and basically you had tuna. Well, I dumped in onions and peppers and a whole bunch of other crap, but basically you had ready made tuna salad. But yeah, I never thought about actually doing this, Eric. It's actually 100% correct, and it gives you the benefit off that. If you want to throw the stuff in there, you can knead it with your hands, and it's ready to go. Cut the end off it, and you can pipe it onto bread. Save yourself basically all the tools of doing anything.
and
Anyway,
actually, I'll definitely look into that because it is easier to get in the States. And fortunately for me, the States is literally next door.
yeah, I
So
was gonna say you have a little more access to it. Like I said, I've never looked for it up here. I just know it used to be really common in like the wouldn't be Flying J's down there, Dysarts down there.
I found there's a couple of things I have found in Canada like that. Uh, Apparently, you can get spam and everything that way in the States. So, yeah, I can't remember if it was I found a ham that way or a tuna, but I did find envelopes of that somewhere. And definitely, I mean, the nice thing with that, you don't have any real garbage. Like if you have a fire that night, you can just burn the little bit of paper that's left over. Where if you go to a can, you're kind of stuck trying to pull that out. So weight going in and weight coming out is nice to minimize that. My only concern with opening it up and putting it in plastic bags is I think it'll tend to go bad quicker. So I'd want to eat it pretty quickly.
I was gonna say
Uh,
that is the only downside to that is you are exposing it to air. But I guess all within reason. The only reason I thought about those prepackaged plastic ones is because I know down there they're still just served off the shelf, so they obviously have
yeah,
to be shelf stable. You know what I mean?
yeah, they're definitely shelf stable. That's like you can get bacon shelf stable. So that's and you see that's the
The Ready
ready
Crisp.
made ready crisp, and I often take that.
Major fan
Uh,
of that camping ever since I seen you did it. And it was just so simple.
it's so easy. Energy bars are another quick one. You know, usually you can get pretty well a meal's worth of energy out of them, uh, and it's pretty lightweight and easy to pack. And honestly, I can throw a few in my tank bag, and there's my lunches. So
Actually, just on energy bars, if I can find them right here, I did find one that I'm rather fond of, and once again, we are not supported by these folks or sponsored in any way, shape, or form. But these
anyway,
ones here, and I think I've showed them to Ben before. They're called Pro Bar, the Simply Real Bar, and specifically, the one I go with is the I think it's nuts and strawberry or something like that. I'm sure it's written on here. I just can't find the actual. Anyway, what I like about these ones, they are a little high in carbs. Not gonna lie to you. It's 49 carbs, 6 of which are fiber, 22 of which are sugar. So they are a little high in sugar, but for the 370 calories it's worth, full of potassium, calcium, iron, and when you eat one of these suckers, you feel full for a while. Like you eat one, it's a meal. You are relatively full. The only downside of these suckers, they can sometimes bring on heartburn.
the other thing I've been taking a lot of in the last little while, I've been using the overnight oats. It's a real simple one. I don't need to worry about a stove, which means I can save my fuel for when I really need it. And honestly, it's a decent morning meal. So that and a small chocolate bar or something easy to get you going in the morning. So those are some of my food options. So we've talked about clothing, we talked about food. Next, I think really has to be shelter. I have two options there. Both I think are pretty reasonable. I do have a small ultralight one-person tent.
Mm-hmm.
I went with a Cloud Up 2, I think it is. So it's technically two-person tent, but I'm telling you, it's a one-person.
So if you're gonna go with a tent, are you gonna bring a sleeping mat?
It definitely would bring a ultralight mattress. Yes.
Okay. Kind of like
I have
those hibernates that we have, or something similar to that style.
I have ultralight cots too we could throw in there, but honestly, then you're starting to get bulky and roomy.
Yeah.
And the other option is my hammock, and I am a huge fan of my hammock.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised you went with the tent right out of the hop. I figured you'd go with the hammock, but
well, I'm probably going to go with the hammock. I'm not going to lie.
I knew it was
but
coming.
those are my options, and honestly, you can oftentimes get a lighter setup with a tent if you're. But here's the thing: if I can hang, I'm hanging pretty well the same. It's a better night's sleep for me. So if I wake up and I'm on the ground, I'm going to be less comfortable.
The only limitation to your hammock is you do need trees. So I assume you're going to the woods, not a field.
I hope so, because I don't like.
You don't know either.
Yeah, if I'm taking my motorcycle, there's like 70 horsepower there that can get me somewhere pretty quick. So if
you'll find trees,
I will find a tree. I will gun that thing till the trees show up.
So what are you planning sleeping bag wise? How heavy are you going? Because what's the temperature getting about your neck of the woods overnight? Here we've been as low as 3 degrees overnight when I woke up one night.
I don't think we're anywhere near that. I don't think we're pushing frost. I can quickly check that. I mean, I'm thinking going further north. Right now, the low temperature here tonight, for example, is 10.
That's about, here might be 8. We just had these, like, 3, 4 really, like, I had a fire going already this year. Believe it or not. I made a little fire for the girls 2, 3 nights ago, because we actually had frost here where I'm from. It's a little lower lying area out of town, and just where we were, we had a little skiff of frost. So it's starting to get cool, but now, of course, temperatures are ramping back up. The overnight's like 8 or 9. So I guess just be careful of those temperatures.
I'm not going to lie. I'm still running air conditioning most of the day.
Okay. Yeah, see, now, I've taken the air conditioner, well, I'm taking the air conditioner out of the bedroom, and I doubt it's been on in the kitchen in the last month.
Yeah, so even where I'm going, highs of 18, 19, 20, and
Nice.
lows of 9. It's the lowest it's going is 9. I'll still probably take my down sleeping bag. It's still lighter. It's a little bulky, but it compresses well. And I don't like playing the game of "Am I going to be cold tonight?" Like that is not a fun game.
Having a
Uh,
bad night's sleep can make a real bad trip, honestly.
I mean, if everything else goes absolutely horrible, but you can still set your hammock up or your sleeping system up, and you can crawl in and get warm and comfortable and stay dry, then when you wake up the next morning, it won't be as bad as you thought it was. But if you wake up and you're wet and you're tired and you've been tossing all night, it's not going to get any better, and you still have to come up and get home out of it, right?
100%.
So,
So how many nights are you going for, Ben? If we can just pick a few questions about the trip.
think it's 3, might be, yeah. It's Friday night, Saturday night. I'm not sure if we're coming back Sunday or Monday.
Okay, so that's a couple weekends from now. Okay, too cool. Okay, so we talked about food, we've talked about sleep, we've talked a little bit about the travel. Last thing I'm going to talk about here a little bit. Excuse me. What are you taking for entertainment and convenience? Because we have talked about this in the past, that it is still good to take a nicety so that you're not miserable. I'm guessing you're going to take your chair. If I had to guess, I could be
Oh man, I have my chair is getting pretty sad.
wrong. Oh, is
I'm
it?
not gonna I am not gonna lie. My chair is near its life limit. So I looking at the other day, the bottom material is starting to separate. The most of the metal is now got a permanent bend to it. Not so its days are numbered. It probably would be on the list of things to take. I mean, it's not very entertaining, but it does offer a good place to sit in the evenings, and it's more comfortable than trying to sit on a rock or even a picnic table. We are currently looking at alternatives, newer, better chairs. I just hate the price. I really do.
I'll send you the one I got. It was on special and it wasn't a bad price, and it's supposed to be good up to 400 pounds. It's been handling me, is all I can say. I don't know. I'm nervous with me on it. I think that 400 pounds is very far reaching. But it's good for my weight. As I don't jump in and out of it, but I've used it through the motorcycle courses over the summer, and I've had no
Yeah.
problems with it. So, because I
Yeah.
couldn't get to the woods, obviously, we're all banned out of there. But I still tried to make the best of what we had.
There's one, I think, Kilo Gear that I've been looking at online. I also looked at the one from REI. They have a one that they've designed and built, and then there's another one at Decathlon. I sized up, but a lot of them we find wobbly when you sit in them. Like there's a lot of dancing going on in the chair when you put full size human beings in it.
And that's kind of the only thing. Like, I find mine incredibly comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't, like, I just, man, that. I wish you could have sat in it. That's all I can say is I wish you could have sat in it.
Yeah. So, anyways, you get good point though. A chair is a possibility. Oftentimes, I have a slingshot I tend to take for entertainment. It's always pretty good to ping some things and that's often an option. I mean, obviously, I have my electronics, so I got my phone. In fact, I'll probably have 2 phones. I have a backup phone or a work phone type deal. So I could watch a show or a movie or something there. If there's data, I can download a few shows. But you want to be somewhat careful with that because if you kill your battery, then you have to recharge that. Fortunately, moto traveling, it's usually not a big deal.
How many of you are going, if I can ask, Ben?
Could be 4.
4.
I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't 100% committed to this. So I have my own thoughts of what I need to do, and I'm fully prepped and ready to go. I don't want to hold them back, but I might be the least equipped for certain things on this trip. Not the outback stuff, but potentially the driving part. I may not be the most skilled of the people going.
Oh, well, I think it'll all be good and dandy.
Also, my windshield recently exploded, so
your windshield on your bike?
I took a rock coming home the other day.
Oh, dude, that's rough. How are you packing any extras for them? I guess. Like,
No,
is there
we tend
anything miscellaneous in your packs? Is there anything we can go through to talk about that might be able to cut down your miscellaneous?
What I will throw out is these guys tend to the group I'm planning on going with. They tend to say everyone packs their own load, so they're not like if I was packing with say yourself or my buddy Chris. We tend to say, okay, what is everyone taking? Do I need to take 2 frying pans? Do I need to take a stove? Do I need to take this? And we shed a bit of gear, and that does help you lose a lot of weight really quickly. It isn't the plan here, so I'll think about like I know I'm going to take a saw and an axe. I'm going to really consider taking both. Maybe just go to one, but we'll see. I love my axe. I love my saw. So it's hard to give up both. But yeah, those are things I'm going to go through and really think about and say, listen, what is the chance I'm really going to need both of these? And in the last couple of trips, did I use both of them?
I'm trying to think. Is there anything else in there that we should talk about? Clothes is kind of personal. You can pack as many or as little as you want. I don't think that's necessarily a big thing we have to chat about.
GPS navigation systems.
What are you taking for technology backup? Are you taking any battery packs? Are you taking chargers to charge off your bike? How are you going to keep yourself connected to the world while you're out there?
Well, there's always never that far from me, honestly. My InReach, it has become a staple of me going places. I think my family does appreciate knowing that I am still alive once or twice a day. Maybe they don't. Maybe they. My watch, again, something I keep with me most of the time. That does give me some navigation ability. It gives me some readings. I can link it to the thing. And my phone, I have the charging device. You know, I have the ability to charge straight from my bike.
Excuse me. All right, coughs are starting to come back now.
And then it's camera gear. So I should test it out. I have some ways of attaching different camera gear to the bike. So I'll probably take some of that. I have to decide if I want to take a full drone system. Is that going to be worth it for the type of trip we're traveling most of the time? Will I actually throw the drone up? But maybe the 360 I can throw on and get some motion travel images.
That'd be kind of cool. Should and I'm just throwing ideas. Maybe grab some 3D video of traveling through the trails or something and post up on the site if you can.
Yeah. So
if that's not too difficult. Never worked with a 3D camera. I have no idea. Maybe that's far too much effort.
Well, I have the equipment. I've just never tested it. So that's one thing I should look at in the next little while. Yeah, besides that, I mean, I carry also most of the tools to repair the bike. So I have spare tubes, tire spoons, soldering kit, wrenches, screwdrivers, all that stuff, like the standard kit plus another kit like that. Yeah, and I try to make sure that I have that. So in theory, if I lost a couple of wires, I can reconnect them. I can replace a section if I had to. So I can. That's usually quite helpful. I can repair a tire. I have patches as well as tubes. So if I have a tire problem, shy of like fully losing a tire, I should be okay. Brand new chain, brand new rear brakes, fairly new front brakes. Yeah, I'm relatively comfortable there. So yeah, yeah, but I don't plan on taking excessive amount of electronics. But that's the phones, the InReach device, because we will be out of cell service for quite a bit of it, I assume. And then maybe some camera gear to record it would be pretty much it.
All right. So that seems like a good place to seal her up here tonight. We're at 29 minutes, and it's kind of leading us into how you're going to get your bike ready at this point, because you did start to talk a little bit about it, where your bike is ready to charge your phones and stuff like that. But I think we'll talk about that at a little bit more length on next week's episode, because it kind of blends into that a little better instead of touching it here, because I do got questions, but I'm saving them. So we don't drag this one out, and it suits more to next week's follow-up.
Sounds good.
I guess the only thing I'm going to follow off here with tonight is, hopefully, potentially, you may see a video coming out from me maybe around Monday. But that's all I'm going to say about it. Ben knows what I'm talking about. You folks, you'll have to wait and see. Other than that, any final thoughts there, Ben? So basically for me, before I let you off here, because I don't know how long I can hold this cough in, anywhere where you can cut down on the weight, especially with the duplicity, and anything that's going to take a lot of water, and that's where I'm at with the dehydrating your food. You can save so much room with food if you really put your mind to it and look for dehydrated or whiter options. It's nice to eat gourmet, but sometimes it's not bad to cut it back a little bit too, think a little bit more about it, save all that weight, save yourself all the energy that may be building up as you're getting out there, not only on the bike in Ben's instance, but if you got to walk into where you're going to be, because the weight, coming from somebody that packs really heavy, it's nice when you have it at home. It starts getting very heavy, very fast, the second you step inside the woods.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's
and your final thoughts. Now I'm going to bend over here and cough. I'm muting my mic. You're going to hear me, Ben. Hopefully these folks won't.
Yeah. So the big thing is I'm going to try and get rid of redundant gear. I'm going to try to only take gear I truly expect to use. I won't cut out on like safety things, so there'll still be a first aid kit and stuff like that. But even in that, I may think about the first aid kit and make sure that things I'm taking truly make sense for this type of trip. So yeah, a lot about it is going to be eliminating excessive stuff, making it more comfortable to ride and easier.
Perfect. So, while I can still talk, that's kind of tonight's episode. Hopefully get you folks thinking. If you have more suggestions or things that we haven't talked about or things that you think others could benefit from, let us know. Shoot us an email, drop a comment, something like that. That's the information that we try to like to get across, and that's kind of the whole point of why we do a lot of the podcasts we do. Yes, we like to hear ourselves talk, but two, we like to try and help other people from repeating the wheel. Pass that information out, get people thinking, and try to get things for us that we haven't tried before either, because we like to try new things too. Now, on to next week's episode. Maybe some of you out there are really big into the off-roading scene and stuff like that. We'd love to have you folks come in and give us your 2 cents on it too. Maybe there's things you guys have done that we haven't really thought about, simply because we're not the biggest off-roaders. Well, Ben more so than me. He travels a lot on his motorcycle. I travel significantly more on my ATV and a little bit in my truck. But in any one or all of those categories, come on back. Give us your guys' ideas. We'd really like to get some feedback on here, because this is the areas where, frankly, we're going to gain the most and probably make the most mistakes if left to our own devices. At least I would, anyway. I'm not going to speak for Ben, at least for me.
Yeah. I agree.
All right. Night, folks. We'll see you next week.